This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1171, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, it's our managing editor downtown, Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome back, Jesse.
Thank
we
you.
missed you on the last show. You were in the most unlikely place I would think
That's
you'd
right.
be, and that was you were cruising the Caribbean with your family.
I was.
How was it?
It was an incredible experience, but I've determined after that experience that I don't think I'm cut out for the cruise lifestyle. It's
What?
a very unique. Well, Cameron, let me first establish you're a cruise guy, right?
A huge cruise guy. Favorite way to travel or vacation.
Okay.
Favorite way to vacation.
Yeah.
It's not a good mode of travel. It's not a good mode of transportation. It's a good mode of vacation.
Arguably the worst mode of transportation.
Yeah, if you're trying to get from point A to point B, don't take a cruise, is what I'm saying. But,
Yeah. Well, one, I'm a little claustrophobic. I like my space, and cruises are tight. And this was totally sold out. So it's a lot of people on the boat.
Yeah.
And I went with some family, and let me just say they are awesome. And it was a group of like 20 of us, and they're very organized and
Whoa.
wanted to make sure everyone had a great time. So there were day-to-day agendas about where to be,
Oh, no.
what to wear,
Oh, no.
what we're doing.
No.
From morning till night, which was
No.
great.
No.
But for someone like me, who's profoundly lazy and easily overwhelmed and frazzled, it was just a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, dude,
You know?
you did it all wrong. The reason why I love cruising, it was because you don't have to make any decisions. You literally show up and they take you places. You don't have to think about a thing. You know what? I want to have ice cream and sit by the pool. You go do that. You want to go down and go watch a movie or go to the arcade. You go do that. You want to go to the beach? You go do that. You do whatever you want. No pressure.
But even then, it's pressure because you got to get off and on the boat. You got to get off and on the boat, and then I'm concerned the whole time. What if I miss the boat? What happens? Like, what, am I here? It's a lot to keep up with on living the cruise life.
Jesse,
There's
it's
also,
because you went with a group of 20 plus people. Like, I'm telling you, herding a huge group like that, kudos to whoever organized the chaos.
Kudos,
Kudos.
an incredible
They
job.
had to
And
do
make sure
that.
we had a blast. I'm going to say this. We had a blast.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not the way you cruise is personal itineraries. That's just not it.
That was not my observation from, like I said, I had an amazing time. It was super, super
Your
memorable.
sister-in-law is not listening to this or whoever it was. Don't worry. She's okay.
It was super, super memorable and awesome.
For the record. I'm sorry. It's like you keep saying that.
No. But what I'm saying is like, this was my first cruise, and
No, was it? You did the high school Christian
I
cruise.
did one but that one wasn't like a real
Let's
cruise.
hear more about that.
They shut down the casino and bars, and Jesse did an improv comedy night and got booed off the stage.
Yeah. But it made me appreciate like the people, you meet a lot of people on these cruises who, most of the talk is about this cruise or other cruises. Like there's a whole cruise lifestyle out there for people.
And I'm fully part of it. And two, I've never spoken to anybody on a cruise. So see, again, the way you're cruising seems more stressful than it needs to be. You don't need to chit chat doing cruise comparisons with strangers.
It's so interesting. Like, Cameron, it sounds like in your mind, cruises exist out of time and space, and you do what you want when you want, if you want.
Incredible. Or I literally have slept all day on a cruise because the gentle rocking of the boat was
You paid that much money just to sleep?
I'm just telling you, like, that's what I felt like doing that day. And so I just did it.
That's another thing, the gentle rocking. I'm always thinking, is that okay? There's a lot. Here's the other thing about cruises that I just wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
Is a lot of noises.
Creaks.
A lot of creaks, a lot of
Lots of
a lot of
groans.
horns, horn sounds in the night.
Yeah.
The sea monsters at night. Yeah.
Every time I'm like, that's supposed to be doing that. That sound normal. I think the thing is, if I went on another cruise, I think I'd be more prepared for like the nuances of the cruise stuff. Like I said, noises in the night. You're like, when you're at home at night and you hear like a house noise or something, when you move into a new house, like, or the ice maker or something in the fridge, like, oh, that's just the ice maker. On cruises, there's all variety of noise, and every once in a while the captain comes on. and makes a cruise announcement, about cruise related business.
Yeah.
But it's never quite loud enough. And I'm like, shh, everyone, the captain.
It's out in the hall. They're not going to blast it in your room. You're sleeping.
But even that, if you're like out and about in dining areas and most cruisers, this is just par for the course. They're not worrying about it, right? Yeah. But for me, I'm a first timer. That was the other thing. I was in my own head. I was like, "What? Shouldn't there be a hush across the dining room? The captain, this could be an urgent matter." And here's the thing: they get in your head right away. You got to do a safety course right when you get on the cruise. Right. You got to go through the protocols.
Yeah.
That's cruise rules. And so in my head, I'm like, well, how likely is this? And now. I'm thinking the whole time, I got to keep my ear out for the captain and these horns. And those are going all the time. I think I got in my own head about all the nuances, because the activities were fun. Like all the stuff we were doing was really fun. Like I said, I just got nervous with the sounds in the night.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone get off of a cruise and talk about how stressed it was.
No, ever.
I feel like I've always heard people say like, it was so relaxing. I loved it. Can't wait for my next one.
Well, I'm not saying I was stressed. I'm saying like,
that's what I'm hearing.
I mean, you had an hour-by-hour itinerary, and you had to herd 25 people. Like,
no, but that was fun. That was fun stuff. It was just acclimating myself. The other thing, these boats are like a maze. I was always, because when I was doing the activity, I was like, this is a great time. This is so fun. I think I'm going to be the weak link in the group that's either going to get lost, that is going to end up like going into a crew place where I'm not supposed to be and inadvertently end up in cruise jail. Like, these are all the things that are in my mind because I've heard about cruise jail.
It's a real place. Yeah.
How does your experience on a 4-day cruise now think, like, there's people that are on year-long cruises right now or 9-month or something like that. How do you feel about those people? Yay or nay?
They're living their best life. It's great.
I greatly admire them.
He sees them as astronauts, like braving the wild frontier. I have great respect for their quest, is what he's saying.
It's a life of adventure. It is pure adventure. And I feel like I'm better prepared for the noises, the labyrinths. Okay. For just the lifestyle.
So you just took basically driver's ed. You just got acclimated. Now you're ready to actually drive.
Better prepared. I think I'm ready for cruise round 2. And like I said, every time the captain comes on, I'm not going to be in a panic because I feel like if I'm let's say right now we're me and you. Let's say us are watching a basketball game. Okay. Yeah. And they interrupt the basketball game with a message from the president of the United States. Okay. The captain of the country.
Snack time.
The captain of the country, if you will. Okay, this is big deal. They're interrupting the game for this. That's how when I'm eating the steak dinner and he comes on, guys, shouldn't we stop here?
No, see, okay. I think you have to think of it like when you're flying on an airplane and like the pilot comes on to tell you something. If the plane is like steady for the most part, you're fine. I don't care what the pilot's saying. It's probably some dumb joke. If the plane is like shaky a little bit, I'm going to pay attention. That's the same with a boat. If like the boat's really rocking, listen to what the captain's saying. If it's smooth sailing, he's just talking because he wants to hear his own voice. I think that's a good rule of thumb.
I feel listening to your cruise experience, knowing my 20 plus cruise experiences, I feel like I'm listening to somebody who has deconstructed and left the faith because of church hurt. And I am listening to your story and I empathize with your experience. It wasn't my experience. So I haven't left the church because of church hurt. I didn't experience what you did, but I understand why you feel that way and why you did. I need to invite you to church, Jesse. Come experience a healthy church environment. Come cruising with me. You and I are equally lazy, equally spontaneous, equally not planners, and it's the best vacation experience for people like us. If I was paired with an itinerary and 20 people I had to shuffle along with, I would be stressed out too and not enjoy it.
No, but you're not understanding. I enjoyed the social aspect. That actually alleviated some of the anxiety because I'm like, these people seem they were awesome. They're having a great time. I was in my own head about,
the captain,
the captain and the
what
noises.
What if I get left behind? What do I have to do to get into cruise jail? What's the line that I can't cross? Yeah,
I think I'm thankful for the itinerary, and I'm thankful I was around level-headed people because, like I said, there was multiple times in the night. Okay, I'm laying there in my cabin, and you hear like a noise, and who knows what it is? Something in the bowels, and I'm on a lower level. Something in the bowels of the boat. I would wake up, Dana. Do you hear that? I think we hit something. I think the boat has. I think we struck
in the middle of the Caribbean Sea that has nothing to hit.
I think there's been a boat collision. I think we were just involved in a collision.
Titanic 2.0.
Yeah, like something that didn't sound right. You know what I mean? Like I was grateful.
I will say, if you were on the lower decks, the creaks and groans in the night are more pronounced than if you're on an upper deck or had a balcony or things like that. That is true. There was one time we were caught in the middle of a major storm, and this was like literally 20 years ago, like my parents' like Christmas cruise type thing, and my brother and I were in an interior cabin. My parents got the balcony suite across the hall, and we were low down though, and we were under a restaurant, and it got really. This wasn't Royal Caribbean. This was a different cruise line. I only do Royal Caribbean now. We were tossing and turning quite a bit. Well, the kitchen above us, a bunch of bottles and stuff had fallen onto the tile floor, and we're just rolling back and forth on our ceiling the entire night. The creaks and noises in the interior lower decks, I agree with you, you're more susceptible.
Here's another concern. Okay.
Yeah.
We're exiting the boat for, you go to these ports or whatever. Yeah. And one of the people in the group, which again, some of those fun people ever. And I thank God, because I otherwise, if I hadn't been with fun people, I'd be in my own head the whole time. One of them, as we're leaving, there's like all these cruise boats. They're like, hey, when we come back, kind of jokingly, don't forget to get on the right boat. I really thought, that's a concern too, because all of them look
they won't let you
almost
on another
identical.
boat with your Royal Caribbean card. Like, oh my gosh! That's why they
there was
scan
another
you.
Royal Caribbean. I don't trust the card
scan
system.
you going in and out. Oh my gosh!
There were so many people coming in. So many people. You're telling me that it never happens? One person doesn't slip through. It probably happens every day. Probably happens every day.
People don't just end up at the wrong island because they got it on the wrong boat. You can't get on the boat. That's why they scan you, and there's photo verification.
These were my concerns. These, along with the noises. It was too many strange, unidentifiable hull noises. Hull sounds. Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much? Like 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What are you giving this cruise?
Oh, I mean, in terms of like fun, I give it a 10 because it was nonstop fun, right? In terms of, me being unprepared for,
the
cruise related anxieties. Oh, see, that was also a 10. So thankfully they offset. Yeah, but either way, it was, I think I'm better prepared for the next one.
Let me invite you to my church, which is healthy and growing and fun. And you will experience a different experience than the one that hurt you growing up. So, well,
unless it's on some sort of vessel that isn't. I
was doing a metaphor. I'm not inviting you to my church. I'm inviting you to go cruising with me. It's a different experience.
But what I'm saying is, unless that experience involves a not giant metal ship that we're
going to get you an upper deck room. Interior or exterior doesn't matter. As long as you're on an upper deck, you're not hearing the creaks and groans. You're fine.
Maybe a captain who doesn't feel the need for periodic updates. Unless it's an emergency, I don't need to know.
I mean, sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, good Thursday morning, everybody. We got great weather today. It looks
something bad happening.
The weather for your day at Coco Cay is looking just gorgeous. We're going to be getting in at 8 a.m. and we're going to be pulling out at 5 o'clock. Have a wonderful day at Coco Cay."
Listen, the captain's
been on a lot of cruises.
Listen, the captain's very busy. Okay, he doesn't need to be getting on, letting us know.
Going 2 miles an hour.
This is a large ship. Okay, with a lot of lives on it, and I want him focused on the sea.
He's already docked. He's already docked at Coco Cay. He's just greeting you and letting you know that you can disembark now, and the weather's fantastic. We'll see you when you return.
He should be more concerned about dock-related issues. which I'm sure there are lots of. Okay, we're capable of exiting the vessel. I need my captain locked in. Okay, I don't. It's like when the captain of the plane comes on and starts doing a little stand up routine. I'm good. Okay, let's just get me to my destination here, Mr.
And
Southwest.
it's not always the captain. Sometimes you got your entertainment director. Hey, everybody! I hope you had a great day at Coco K. Tonight we've got the big show going on after dinner, and we'll see you on the upper deck at 11 for the chocolate fountains. And when I hear
the loudspeakers go on,
you think it's an emergency.
It's cause for concern.
They're just letting you know that Grease starts at 8, and there'll be a late comedy show at 10:30. That's all they're letting you know.
In my mind, that's an abuse of the intercom. when we boarded the vessel, we were told we would be informed over the intercom if there's some sort of emergency. We need to get to deck with our life vest.
That's true.
Okay, so that's what I was prepared for. Intercom system. There should be a separate, intercom.
There should be like a little tone, like a
they
nice,
do have a different tone.
Jingle.
They do.
I was saying like a nice jingle to let you know, like, hey, what you're about to hear. Super casual.
They do. The lyrics do. If it's just like an announcement, it's like you didn't hear an emergency. You didn't hear that other tone. You only heard everything's great.
Again, these are things I would have been far more prepared for. if on the next cruise, because the next, I like I said, I liked having lots of fun and doing stuff. It was like an adventure. It was like a old school, like, I felt like I was in college. Like it was great. It was more just an unpreparedness for the nuances of cruise lifestyle.
The next thing you'll learn is the difference between a 3-day cruise that you went on and a week-long cruise, because I don't relax until the third day. Because the first 3 days, you want to see the old boat, you want to do all the stuff, you want to do all the activities. And so you're having fun, you're go, and you're not resting. And so after about Wednesday on the week-long cruise, Wednesday on is the most relaxing.
Yeah.
Because you've done a lot. You don't feel like you have to cram every day full. You can sleep in a little more, take a nap by the pool. You can just like slow down. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is just heaven. It's heaven. So you have like a fun experience and then you have a relaxing experience. You just had the packed, fun, go as much as possible kind of experience.
Exactly. Which like I said, it helped distract me from constantly being worried about being lost, being in a wrong part of the cruise vessel. Because, my thing with mass transportation is, there's not much forgiveness if you wander into the wrong area. The airlines and airports have taught us that. So I'm constantly concerned about, some sort of international trespassing violation.
Open the wrong door. You're not getting put in cruise jail. You have to do something criminal to go into cruise jail. So you're fine. You're all right.
Well, again, it's all in the back of my mind. And maybe next time I'll be able to not have these concerns.
Next time we're going 5 to 7 days minimum, 5 days minimum, 7 ideal is what we're going for.
So you're saying by day 3, I'll be warmed up to the captain's intercom.
You settle in day 3. You got the rhythm of the day, the boat. You don't need, everything's like slows down. You can relax. That's key. So
gotcha. Well, they really should prepare you more when you get on the vessel. They only tell you, they call it the mustard drill.
Worst case scenario.
They call it the mustard drill. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait, I just got on. And now you're telling me that I need to be prepared. I need to be prepared for a sea rescue.
You think you're going on like a military exercise or something? Like you come on, like you just joined the Navy or something. You were not in vacation mindset.
I wasn't. I
will protect my family. Teach me where we must go. Yeah.
I didn't think that's how they start it.
Well, they can't do that like 2 days in because by that point it could be too late.
They could send you an email like, hey, watch this quick video. This is, don't even worry about it when you get on the boat. Let's just get your head right. But I just boarded. Okay. Now I'm, learning the emergency protocols, that could be after dinner, I just got on.
Well, we're glad you're back.
I'm glad to be back.
I'm glad that you made it.
It really was. It was super memorable and fun, but I'm better prepared now.
All right. Well, coming up later, we talk to SEU Worship. They have a new album you want to hear about. And we have your feedback at the end of the show. But stay tuned. Up next, it's Relevant Buzz. You're listening to Tower Bird. The song is Sorry, Sorry. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. Mercy Ships provides free, life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. They do all this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time and talents. Surgeons, stewards, nurses, engineers, and more make the world a better place. Your donation today provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. All gifts are matched, so please donate today at mercyships.org/relevant. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Tim Tebow's book, Look Again. Have you ever wondered what would change if you truly believed you were infinitely valuable to God? In his New York Times bestselling book, Look Again, Tim Tebow reveals the powerful truth that when we learn to see the image of God in every person, including those we struggle to love, everything changes. Tebow shares incredible stories from his work with people the world often overlooks, and it will challenge you to stand up to the lies, rediscover the worth that everyone has, and impact the world for good. Find Look Again by Tim Tebow, available now wherever books are sold. Okay, it's time for Relevant Buzz. Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily.
Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is the latest Netflix documentary called Dancing for the Devil. So this 3-part docuseries that examines the Shekinah Church, which is based in LA, and its charismatic pastor, Robert Shin, who's being accused of abusing his spiritual authority and leading the church like a religious cult. The story really centers on a group of major TikTok dancers who joined the church over the last few years. And ultimately, they signed the pastor's talent management company, 7M, which they say was used to basically control every aspect of their lives. A lot of former members say Robert used his power as a pastor to manipulate them, or at least heavily influence them, to do things like cut off their family members, which is kind of how this documentary got started. One of the key parts of the story focuses on a young woman named Miranda Wilking, who is a TikTok dancer. You might have recognized her face if you see it. But she and her sister, Melanie, they moved to LA to be professional dancers. They got famous on TikTok. Miranda ultimately got involved with the church and 7M management while Melanie didn't. And the documentary speaks with Melanie and her parents as they talk about what it was like losing contact with Miranda and how they've tried to regain contact with her while she's still under 7M. And they also spoke with a lot of former members just about their experience being in it and getting out of it. We're actually going to play a clip from the trailer so you can hear what they have to say.
It started out fairly innocuous, but the control slowly grew.
I could be in an unsafe environment.
This is a cult.
They would say, cut off your family because you need to work on yourself.
You have to die to your family in order to save them. As a man of God, I wasn't thinking that he would ever do anything wrong to me or someone.
When you raise somebody and all of a sudden to see a shell of your daughter, I don't know who this person is.
There were these sleuth accounts popping up. Former members were saying people suffered in his church for decades.
I felt so betrayed. It was awful.
I want Robert to never be able to do this ever again. Whatever you sow, you're gonna reap. That's what he teaches, right?
Wow. I watched it last weekend, and the thing that stands out about this story, which is an ongoing current story, not like one of those cult documentaries from the 90s, versus this story versus those situations, is those situations are this weird guru manipulating people into buying into this weird theology of end times, blah, blah, blah. There's all these things, and it's very vulnerable people who are in vulnerable seasons of their life getting kind of sucked into it. This is very LA. And if you watch it, especially growing up in the charismatic church, which I did, it just seemed like, and they play a lot of sermon clips and stuff. It's a lot of stuff we've heard in church. This is a church in LA that's, and you're kind of going, this is familiar. So when I'm watching it, I was wondering if this was kind of like the Hillsong documentary from a year ago, where it's like all these former members are And then they ask you to give part of your income. And when you work at the church on Sundays, in the kids ministry, they don't even pay you. And like, it was like they made it to be this evil thing. And it's like, well, that's just volunteering and tithing. Like that's just, it sounds weird to outsiders, but it's like church world. So I was watching it through that lens. Like, this feels church world, and the family that's the center of it all, they're not believers. And so are they scared that their daughter became a Christian and she's put up quote unquote healthy boundaries with the non-believing family that's trying to drag her down or something? You know, I'm trying to watch it with empathy on both sides. The story it's 3 parts. The story does evolve far past that. And it really does devolve to very cult-like situations. I'm aware of litigation and stuff, and so I'm not going to say it's a cult. Yeah. It is cult-like, the things that we saw in the documentary, and it definitely got off track. Then you find out things about the pastor that are very immoral and frankly evil, and so it's like, okay, no, this is not a normal church experience that people just are misunderstanding. This is a weird, crazy situation, and it's centered around TikTok dancers and money and fame, and it's bizarre. And I absolutely, anybody who's had a church experience, I would say absolutely watch this. It's just a reminder of the slippery slope that spiritual leaders can find themselves on when money and power and control factor into the faith experience and stuff. Because it was a weird thing that he was running their management company and making them money, and also running a church, which was saying to give us your money. And so he had a hand in both pockets, and it got very, very messy very quickly.
Isn't it ironic, though, how in different patterns that will play out over and over? Like the mediums may be different, like it may be TikTok and dance managements, but the idea of power, control, and isolation will tend to kind of repeat themselves when people kind of spiritually abuse people. Like I just am wrapping there's a great docu-series that, it's called The Conspiracy Tapes, and it features these audio tapes that would circulate in the 1990s and like cassette tapes in kind of evangelical circles that were the preachings of this guy, John Todd, who was sort of a mentee of Jack Chick, like of the Chick track fame, and this guy would go to these churches, and he had this kind of wild testimony of being like an ex-witch who ended up kind of coming to the Lord and now wanted to tell people about the dangers of these witchcraft cults that were going to take over the church. And soon he got so popular, and you can look back and they talk about this, like, all these evangelical, like Christianity Today, and all these people were doing big stories about this guy who was kind of taking over the church speaking circuit. He ended up being a massive fraud and a criminal, and, doing the same thing, like spiritually abusing people, manipulating the amount of money, isolating them from their families. His medium was cassette tapes and end times fear. Right. But it was the same kind of levers of control. Can I spiritually manipulate people with some sort of viral medium? And in his case, it was Chick tracks and comic books and cassette tapes. And it's TikTok videos, but they get your claws into money. They can make you isolated, and they can spiritually manipulate you with supposed spiritual superiority and use it for their own gain. It's just that pattern tends to play out a lot,
Something Cameron and I, when we were talking about this, we talked about there was a lot of things that reminded us of the documentary a few years ago, The Way Down. That was about the church in Tennessee, actually, that it started. I mean, she really started her ministry kind of doing like this diet culture thing, and then
she was doing like jazzercise classes at churches.
Yeah. And then it like evolved into a ministry that then evolved into a church, but it eventually evolved into a cult, and so it's things like that where I think, like you're saying, it started off maybe not as what it ended up being, but like you said, it's a slippery slope.
They really talk. A lot of his preaching was hellfire and brimstone, and scared these followers or congregants into like, you will go to hell if you don't XYZ, and so he would then give them the plan to escape hell. And the plan was isolation, control, manipulation, and they bought in. And then everything was about the man of God, him kind of like being almost like the way that God's going to speak to you and save you from hell. So do everything that I, the man of God, am telling you to do. And it's not instantly. It's not the first time they go to Bible study, he's like leading out with that. But like after you're there and you form community and trust and familiarity, you want to grow deeper in your faith and you want to please God. And well, I need to take that next step of financial sacrifice or, commitment to the Lord and cut off these friendships. And it's just little by little. And then all of a sudden you've been brainwashed by somebody who you maybe find out later is deeply flawed and was doing it manipulatively. So
and same thing in that podcast series, which is Sony Music, if anyone's looking for it. But he had people that were selling their homes to invest in a homestead that they could be protected from this witch Illuminati cult that was going to be taking over. And again, it was when you articulate it, it sounds like, well, that sounds crazy. Absolutely ridiculous. How could someone fall for that? But a lot of people did because, to your point, Cameron, it's a slippery slope of spiritual manipulation.
Yeah, and it's not all at once, and that's the thing. So anyway, I highly recommend watching it, especially our audience. It's not EGBG weird, oogie bougie, whatever I'm trying to say, weird, like crazy people up in Portland that like, how could you ever follow a cult? You guys are just hedonistic or whatever. No. This is a very familiar church experience, Bible study experience, saying all the right things, reaching the next generation in LA, all the stuff. And then you see what happens next. And it's just jaw dropping. So go watch it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's crazy too is the people that you see on it. Like, even if we say like the name Miranda Wilkink, you may not necessarily know the name, but you'll see her face.
Oh my gosh.
If you've been on TikTok.
Somebody said the other day on Twitter or whatever, like some youth pastor or whatever was like telling everybody stay off TikTok because it's all pretty girls like in bathing suits or whatever. And somebody was like, raise their hand, like, isn't it an algorithm about the content you engage? Anyway, I'm saying that to say my TikTok is all weird jokes, memes, and basketball. But I even recognized her. Like she's that famous. Like she's got millions and millions and millions of followers. So when she shows up in this documentary, I'm like, oh, that's that girl who dances to like Ray Charles and does like Ellen show type dancing type stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I recognized her. She's huge and she's the centerpiece of this cult story. So
so crazy.
Also watch your TikTok algorithm, everybody.
Sure. Anyways, speaking of social media, we've got some major news about our favorite platform, X, because it's officially trying to become the world's worst social media platform.
I thought they already were. Congratulations, everybody. We did it.
Well, they're trying to hold on to that title, I think, what they're really trying to do.
Okay.
No, this is all thanks to their new policy that will officially allow adult content on their platform as long as it's properly labeled and not prominently displayed.
Yeah, it's already been on there. They're just like they pretended like it wasn't. Like, what do you mean?
Well, yeah. So to be clear, adult content has unofficially been allowed on X for years. I think back in 2022, there was a report that said like 13% of all tweets contained adult content. But if I came across somehow in my algorithm, something came across that I did not like, I could report it, try to get it taken down, the whole account, everything. Now, as a user, I don't have a defense against it. If it somehow, some way finds itself into my feed, I can block the account, but I can't really do anything to like prevent it from ever showing up on Twitter or anything like that.
So porn is just going to, spam bots is just going to like be posting porn in our comments and in our feeds. Great.
Yeah. Which again, they already are. So just imagine how much more they get to do that.
Because they got the green light now. Great.
Yeah. I mean, it's, when you look at, obviously, I think out of principle, most people would agree with the concept of free speech and free expression, but when there's an accelerant like a social media platform, you can see why other platforms have degrees of filters and rules, because at some point there's going to be, content that is objectionable that, there has to be some policies in place and just kind of, unfettered spreading of that, what some people say, well, it's quote unquote free expression, when it veers into like obscenity, you can see why other platforms, have adopted stricter rules on a lot of levels.
I mean, if IG and TikTok didn't have standards against language and decency, I wouldn't be on them. That's crazy. So now Twitter is just like, no, we're the Wild West. You can post whatever you want. Great.
Yeah, they're really embracing that. And to y'all's point, people are starting to kind of ask really important questions about like, what are the settings that we can have? Is there a way to kind of prevent us from seeing that? And one person that I really like the way she put it is one of my favorites, Beth Moore, a Christian leader. I'm actually just going to read kind of her response to the news because I think she brings up some really good points. She said, "This dramatically changes things. I've so not wanted to leave this site because of the community we developed. Dialogue, insight, hilarity, silliness, the praying for one another. What shall we do? One thing that worries me is that we surely have numerous people in our community who struggled with porn. Is it irresponsible of us then to stay? If I were a recovering alcoholic, for instance, I'd very much wish my friends would think of a different place to meet up than a bar. On the other hand, will we ultimately have this issue wherever we go? Are there settings here we can change?"
Go to Threads. They don't have porn.
That is true, but you have to like build that community again. I think like that's
which is like, okay, everybody, here we go. Hand out hour by hour itineraries. Get your big group to just move over to Threads at the same time.
There we go.
It'd be a lot of fun. I'll tell you that. You have no shortage of fun. But imagine Mark Zuckerberg interrupting Threads every once in a while. Attention, everyone. I know everyone's busy having a good time.
Yeah.
And enjoying each other's company and making memories here.
Yeah.
But I have a special announcement, and it could be critical to your life.
Greece is starting at 8 tonight after the
I don't want to be hushing everyone because the muster drill warned us of this very scenario that we need to pay attention to these.
That is true. I didn't think about the Threads experience being like that. You're right. Who knew?
Changed my perspective.
Exactly. Royal Caribbean. I'm just saying. Have a different voice. This isn't your captain. Just establishing that everything is fine. All right, here we go.
You have to sing the announcements if it's not about it. Yeah.
The captain, don't worry, is fully engaged in captaining the boat, not making arbitrary announcements.
Eyes on the ocean.
Yeah, he's he's looking for sea hazards as we speak.
It will be interesting to see. It really will. If Christian leaders do end up leaving it, if it becomes an online cesspool, because it's like this happened to Tumblr, in a lot of senses, Reddit is known as seedy. I don't use Reddit because of that. And I know you can use Reddit if you use Reddit, I'm not saying you look at bad stuff. It's just right there though. And so it's but this was the downfall of Tumblr. Tumblr became a porn blog and everybody left it and then it collapsed. And so it's like, I mean, that just happened a few years ago. Like, why are we repeating that? It's so weird. Anyway. All right. What's last?
Last thing, in case you missed it, The Chosen Season 4 is finally available to watch from home, sort of. So seasons 1 through 3 are available on like virtually every platform. And back in February, the 4th season premiered entirely in theaters, and it was supposed to be on streaming just a few weeks after that, but it got very delayed. And honestly, it was kind of vague what was happening. There was some sort of legal battle, but we didn't really know what was happening. But last week, Dallas Jenkins shared an update that The Chosen and Angel Studios had brought in a third-party arbitrator over a contract dispute. Essentially, last year, The Chosen signed a new deal with Lionsgate and the CW to expand the reach of the show. So they went to the Angel Studios to agree on a new contract. But then this year, when season 4 premiered in theaters, Angel Studios said that they still had some exclusive rights. And so they were saying there was a breach of contract there. So they had to get this whole legal debate over all this. They brought in the third-party arbitrator. Anyways, the arbitrator agreed with The Chosen that they could move forward with releasing the show on streaming. Angel Studios is appealing the decision for now. But in the meantime, you can still watch the show if you download the app or the BYU TV app.
So the Chosen app is where it's streaming and on BYU TV. Got it.
Yeah, it'll be on streaming channels once all this is figured out. The CW has already announced that they will be premiering it on September 1st this fall.
Fall, prime time. Look at The Chosen. Jesus going to prime time again. It's crazy.
There you go.
Good for him.
Good for him. I'm big things in store for that guy. All right. That'll do it for Relevant Buzz. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every weekday where we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between. Thanks, Emily. Stay tuned. Up next, SEU Worship joins us.
You said 'cause it's easy to numb me.
You're listening to Cosmo's Midnight and Spill Tab. The song is Eating Heartache. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by John Mark Comer's book, Garden City, a book that speaks to the tension we all feel between work, rest, and purpose. The New York Times best-selling author John Mark Comer takes us to the scriptures to identify what it really means to be human and flips the script on the idea that who you are matters, not what you do. He shows that God created us for meaningful work and meaningful rest. Both matter. This book helps you ask and answer the big questions. Does God care where I work? Is there a direction for my life? So you can discern God's heart for your calling, your rhythms, and the way His Spirit wants to shape every part of your life. If you're longing for purpose and a more grounded way to live, check out the new hardcover edition of Garden City wherever books are sold. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism, inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting godthesciencetheevidence.com. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Erwin McManus's book, The Barbarian Way. Some books don't just inspire you, they confront you. The Barbarian Way, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, is one of those books. If you felt the pull of God towards something deeper and wilder than the safe, predictable version of faith that we settle for, McManus reminds us that following Jesus was never meant to be tame. It's meant to awaken courage, passion, and purpose God placed inside us. He draws from the wild stories of Abel, Noah, Moses, Rahab, and others to remind us that following God wasn't meant to be tame. Safe faith isn't working. Step into the story God is writing for you. Choose passion, choose boldness, choose the Barbarian Way. Available now wherever books are sold. Well, our guest today is SEU Worship. They're a worship collective from right down the road from me at Southeastern University here in Florida. Today, they are releasing their brand new album called Move of God. We talked with worship leader Chelsea Plank to hear more about the music, what's on Gen Z's heart and mind these days, and how this generation is changing churches everywhere. Here's our conversation with Chelsea Plank from SEU Worship.
Well, tell me about the album that's dropping today. What's the story behind it?
Yeah, so the album is called Move of God, and that track Move of God was actually the last song that we wrote for the album, and it just encompassed everything we were singing about in all of the songs. So much of the songs that we were writing were coming out of a place on our campus where we had seen such a powerful revival where, not that this always has to indicate, God moving. He can move in so many different ways, but we were seeing, altar calls at the end of our Monday night chapels going until 1 a.m. We were seeing, people praying over people on our campus. We were seeing people with just crazy radical faith that set an expectation and an atmosphere that the Lord can do anything. And when we have that expectation, He just really does. And our leadership was really focused on positioning ourselves to holiness, because it says that the pure in heart see God. And we know that purity it's more than, like a destination that maybe we thought, but it's a pursuit. It's like, it is a real pursuit. and we just wanted to see God. And so many of these songs, whether they're songs of repentance or songs of exaltation to the Lord, it ultimately is just us expressing the move of God that we feel happening across our nation and across the globe. That, you know, in times where you feel like there's darkness all around you, it's like, no, there is a move of God that's taking place. And if we just have the faith to believe it, if we're hungry, if we're desperate for it, God is going to show those kinds of things to us. So, yeah, that's like the start of the album. It's funny because it was the last song we wrote, but it encompassed the whole thing so well. And so this starts as a movement on our campus, but it started long before in movement in individual hearts and through, you know, their local churches that they go to, and God's got a heart for the church. And so we know that God's aligning all of that through this album and through what he's doing in the world right now.
I love that you get to work with college students every day in your ministry. What's your favorite part about working with them?
One of the most cutting edge parts of our ministry is that we always have young adult voices filtering in and out. And so we always get a taste of next generation, even if, you know, we're getting older. So I love that part of our ministry, that we're always hearing the concerns of the next generation, the heart, where they feel like they want to put their labor into, what they want to, you know, put their love into. And I think that's a really unique part of our ministry, is that we always kind of have our pulse on, like, what are young people feeling? What are they needing? And for our ministry, our first and foremost, we always say we're writing for our body first and foremost. And we pray that kind of ignites everywhere when these things release. But, you know, so we're asking, hey, what do our students need? What do you feel? What are you sensing from your friends, the people around you, when we're writing with students? You know, we always have like an 18-year-old in the room along with like a 25-year-old. So I think that is one of my favorite parts, other than just student ministry in general. That I love so much, and I love our students, and I love developing and discipling, and that we get to be a part of that with them. But aside from just those things that I love just in general, it is such a fresh perspective for us and for our body that we always get a young adult mind and heart, you know.
What's something big on their hearts and minds these days?
Something we've seen is with songs like Monday Morning Faith, or a song we just released that'll be on the album, like Slower I Go. Different songs, Move of God, these different themes that we're seeing and sensing is one, young people are very open to just new language on how to talk about and talk with the Lord. And so something that's really cool is we get to experiment with, like, okay, how can we bring fresh revelation to something maybe we've heard about in church? And I think young people are really craving that and that new perspective. But also something that I think we get wrong sometimes is that they don't want truth, or that they just kind of want the fluff. They want this. And it's like, actually, young people are so enticed by the truth. I feel like I'm seeing so much in Gen Z and Gen Alpha, like now more than ever, you can smell out fake from a mile away. If you don't feel authentic, that is not relatable to them at all, or not relatable to me at all. And so I think just a seeking of truth, yes, through new revelation, new ways of saying it, but still that truth, that theology, that grounding is actually something that young people are seeking out way more than we give them credit for, and way more than we'd allow them to be told that they do. So yeah, I think that's something that, you know, young people are actually craving, like more than we think, you know?
That was SEU Worship. Make sure to check out their brand new album, Move of God. It releases today. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback.
The leading lady always breaks his heart. Does she love it, baby, in some part? Then again, she took it way too far. Leading lady always breaks his heart.
You're listening to Liam Malcolm. The song is Leading Lady. Well, today's podcast is brought to you in part by the new book, Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic. Author Jonathan Seidel knows firsthand how even believers can get stuck in shame and destructive habits, especially when it comes to one of society's biggest obsessions, alcohol. In Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic, he details his spiral into disordered drinking and shares the 4-step process he eventually used to break free. There's hope for alcoholics who become Christians and for Christians who become alcoholics. Find Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic wherever books are sold. What if you could change a child's life with just $10? Right now, thousands of vulnerable children in East Africa are suffering from jiggers. It's a painful, preventable parasite that burrows into their feet. Soul Hope is the only organization treating it through foot washing, medical care, and durable closed-toed shoes that protect kids long after treatment. $10 may not seem like much in today's world, but when we come together, those small gifts add up to big change. Join the 10 for 10 campaign. $10 protects 10 small toes. Visit soulhope.org/10 to give now. One small gift makes a big difference. Again, that's soulhope, SOLE, hope.org/TEN. Okay, it's time for your feedback. Last week, we got talking about tipping culture. I was confused by being asked to tip for a service that I paid for, that the person set the rate. It wasn't like a product. It wasn't like they were getting an hourly wage. They got 100% of the money that I paid. And then I was sent an email to tip them on top of that. I was confused. I brought that up. Jesse had some thoughts about tipping. We want to know your thoughts about tipping culture. So we asked you, what are your thoughts on tipping culture? Has it gone too far or not far enough? You hit us up on X for now at Relevant Podcast. And here's a few of our favorite replies.
Okay. Most people agree that it's gone way too far.
Sure.
Including Jeremy, who said that he recently bought a pair of shoes and there was a place to place a tip on the iPad.
What?
So is the question just any transaction now is fair game?
Why would you? What?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I can see if you went to
where's the line?
Now he didn't specify, but it's one thing if you're going to like Foot Locker or something like that. It's another thing if you're going to, if you went to like a cobbler, I could see tipping. Someone who's making the shoe.
Yeah, like an artisanal, like a boot maker or a hat maker. Yeah.
But I got to be honest, I don't even know how many cobblers are still around anymore. I think this sounds like a DSW warehouse situation where you're just pulling a box off the shelf with your size on it.
Yeah, I'm not tipping.
Yeah. That's who's that tip going to?
Yeah.
That is a good question.
Well, it's the person who helped to get the shoe probably, because like when you go check out a Foot Locker, they get a little commission, so they put their name on the box.
Now, I'm not opposed to that because because I look at Foot Locker shoe helpers differently. I think it's the referee shirts. I think they feel more official to me, and I'm willing to tip them. There's a degree of authority that goes into that referee.
You tip authority? Sure. I tip service workers. You tip the king. I tip the cobbler, the servant.
Ooh.
I mean, like I said, there's something about the referee shirt. Maybe it's just from watching sports. I feel like, okay, this person...
referees get paid. You're right. So you got to pay them a little on the down low.
This person's maintaining the order of the Foot Locker, okay? Yeah. They're not just getting my shoe from the back.
Yeah.
They're making sure what's preventing someone from just running out of the store when they're trying them on? I'll tell you what, those people with those referee shirts, that's who. They deserve a tip for that.
Jesse,
that person just tried on brand new running shoes. They're never running faster than they are right now. What's that?
I was going to ask, did you tip anyone while you were on the cruise?
I did. There's actually, like a whole tipping thing that
it's
you can
fantastic.
Pre-tip.
Yeah, you can pre-tip or you can tip. You just put on your room. You tip everybody, your housekeeper, your waiter.
I'll say this. I did leave an extra tip for the housekeeper because every time there was a cute little folded towel animal on my bed.
They do that for everybody. That's part of
wearing my sunglasses.
They do that for everybody.
No, but that is such a nice part of the
really
housekeeping. I love that.
That's part of your tip that you did officially was for them for doing that.
I did a bonus because
you did a bonus Jonas tip because they did the thing that they did for everybody.
One day it was like a little bear wearing my sunglasses. Yeah. One day it was like a whale, and I think it had one of my baseball hats on or something.
You got a monkey. You got a monkey day. On a 7-day cruise, you're going full zoo,
Yeah. Here's another thing I noticed. My sneakers.
Elephant days.
He had the shoelaces gently tied together so they didn't get separated. I was like, oh, that's a good little touch. Ike. Shout out to Ike.
So you bonus Jonas floor. Tipped wow.
Shout out to Ike on the second floor of the
You were on the second floor? No wonder you're in creeks. You got to go 7 or up, buddy. 7 to 14. That's it. Anything below 7, you're creaking and groaning all night long.
Yeah, I mean, when I think they dropped anchor. I think that's what I heard one time, and it was
it was next to your room.
You were in the back. Oh my goodness!
I think they're driving forklifts around down there, moving crates.
I'm picking the length. I'm picking the boat. I'm booking the whole thing for us. Trust me.
Okay. I will say this.
Come visit church. My church, no church hurt. It's a good church.
Okay. Well, let's as long as Ike comes.
There's an Ike on every. They're gonna do your elephants. They're gonna do the monkeys.
Delightful. Delightful.
Okay. Did you think Ike was just doing it because Ike had that skill and he was doing it for your family?
Me and Ike chatted quite a bit before.
Of course you did. Yeah.
And so I figured it was just for me. Nope. But in my mind, it is.
Literally everybody. They have classes on one of the mornings on the week long where they will teach you how to fold the towel.
I refuse to believe that.
It's true.
This was between me and Ike.
Well, he manipulated you into a bonus Jonas tip. He is like Shekinah pastor. He isolated you, made you think you were special. He controlled your experience with incentivizing it with the animals, and then he extracted money from you.
Even knowing this, I refuse to relinquish my loyalty to Ike and what he gave me.
That's going to be a great clip for the documentary that's going to come out about this.
I just can't. I can't speak against them. I refuse to.
All right, back to feedback. David Winiger says, if I tipped at a certain establishment before COVID, then I continue tipping there. That's an interesting thing. So if
it's an interesting stance.
So he's going, if you're adding an iPad post COVID for tips, I didn't used to tip here. I'm not being party to this. But if I tipped here pre 2020, I keep tipping. That's an interesting distinction.
But what about a new business that opens up?
He doesn't go. He hasn't bought any new clothes in 4 years. He hasn't gotten his haircut in 4 years. He's gone back to the same hairstylist. Yeah. He's not going to go to the new haircutting place in his neighborhood.
Gotcha. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. The longer we get out from COVID, the less that excuse is going to work.
Agreed. There's a lot more that came from, but basically everybody says tipping's terrible. The bonus Jonas question of the week, Emily asked, what celebrity are you hoping becomes a Christian next? And Aaron said Donald Trump. So there you go. Yeah. Okay, it's time for this week's
editorial question of the week.
All right. Well, earlier in the show, for the first half hour of the show,
majority of the show,
we did a deep dive into Jesse's 3 days on the high seas. I am an advocate for cruise vacationing. Jesse was stressed out for 3 days.
I'm an advocate too. If you learn, they should. Here's what they should do. make you do the risk video days before you get on, so it's not right in your head when you board. And then they should have recordings of all the sounds you hear at night and let you know this one, normal. This one, normal. This one, you've probably hit another vessel in the high seas. It's time to be afraid.
There's probably a YouTube channel where somebody's done this.
Well, there will be now, because this is going to be my new mission for people to more enjoy their cruises.
Maybe they could send a YouTube video of what the sounds are so you can listen to it a few days in advance.
That's what he was saying. That's what
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the YouTube video. Okay.
Yeah, I was saying somebody's probably done this sound breakdown.
The cruise crash course. Yeah.
But you don't want to call it a cruise crash course.
There's no good way to do this. You're right.
The cruise icebreaker, maybe?
Nope.
Too soon?
No, another fail.
No good way.
Anyway, we were talking about that. It's summer. You guys are traveling. We're traveling. Our crew's traveling. Guys are coming and going each week. We want to know, A, your favorite way to vacation, and B, any crazy, funny experiences that you want to tell people about. Your most memorable, funny, crazy summer vacation experience. Hit us up on X at Relevant Podcast. Stay away from the porn. And you can also post in our stories on IGS and other safer platforms where we will post this question as well. We'll read
Tumblr,
our favorites.
Reddit.
Yeah, Tumblr. Hit us up on Tumblr. Hit us up on X, and we're good. And some of the weird forums on Reddit. We'll post it there as well. All right. Well, before we wrap things up, I'm going to thank Chelsea Plank from SEU Worship for joining us today. Make sure to check out their brand new album, Move of God. It releases today. Also, make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every weekday, where we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, life in your 20s, justice, changing the world, all the good stuff. You can follow us on all the socials where we post every new article. Also, you can sign up at our website for our free daily newsletter called Relevant Today, which sends you our top 5 trending stories each weekday morning right to your inbox. All right. On that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Emily Brown.
We will see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
That was so funny, dude. I love it when you go on rants about crap.
The captain thing, it was real talk. Like at dinner, okay? I was like, guys, I don't feel like we should be talking right now. Everyone's looking at me like, what are you?
He's just welcoming you to the evening. Just saying, I hope you had a great day in Coco K. And
I'm like tapping on the glass. Guys, the captain's on.
Wait, did the captain not come around? Like, I feel like there's always one dinner where the captain comes around. And
No, it's the main dining room only on the main level, and it's the formal night, the captain's dinner. I don't even know if they do that on a 3-night cruise. Maybe it's the last night, but no, who's driving the ship? I feel like he should be in close proximity to the steering mechanism.
I'm assuming there's a co-captain.
There are thousands of crew members. I mean, there's
one captain.
Relevant Podcast Network.